Sounds good. I'll go ahead first and introduce myself. My name is Frank Santos. I'm the Director of Training for Vanco, which underneath Vanco, we've got 4 different brands, Vanco, Evolution, and then 2 of the brands we're going to speak about today, Pulse Audio and Beale Street Audio. And I've been with Vanco for 9 years now. My background before Vanco was in the automotive industry, so I was not even in the AV industry at all. Learned a lot fast. Fast forward a year and a half later into my Vanco employment. I was actually doing an accredited HDMI class on behalf of Vanco. So life moves at you fast. Obviously, it's a great industry. I personally love it. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm more of a video guy. We've recently gotten into audio. Randy Blanchard is our audio director. He's doing a great job of helping us out with our audio brands and educating myself on audio. So that's my background. Randy, if you want to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Frank. My name is Randy Blanchard, as Frank said, Dave said. I've been in this industry since 1984. Makes me really old. I started out as you guys, worked at, then owned a integration company, a high-end audio company here in beautiful Detroit, Michigan, USA. Did that for 22 years, sold that business, went to work for one of the largest low voltage distributors in the world. Did that as their audio business development manager, their audio video for 15 years. I joined Vanco 2.5 years, almost 3 years now. I joined Vanco after they acquired Beale Street. Because I was a huge fan of Beale Street from the day I saw it as a prototype. I saw and heard what Sonic Vortex can do. So I went to Vanco and said, hey, I know how to sell speakers. I know Sonic Vortex. You should hire me to run that side of your business. And they did. So for the last almost 3 years now, that's what I've been doing for Vanco. Go ahead, Frank. Let's get rolling, brother.
Sounds good. And then everyone, Randy and I will be switching off throughout this presentation. However, if you guys have any questions, please utilize that chat function. We'll certainly take a look at that, and we'll answer any questions as we go. And then at the end of this presentation, we'll open it up for Q&A. So I'll get started. Let me do an introduction on Vanco, if you guys are not familiar with Vanco. Born in 1957 in Illinois, where we still reside today. In fact, that's where I'm located. Not too far from Chicago, about 30-35 miles west of Chicago. Vanco was originally a provider of mobile and CB accessories. So it's funny that you say that, Dave, about CB radio, but that's what we started off with. Obviously, we no longer dabble in mobile or CB accessories. About 20 years ago, we decided to change the focus of the company and shifted towards AV. Specifically the HDMI cable. We started production on the HDMI cable. We were one of the first producers of the HDMI cable here in the States. And obviously over the past 20 years, we've graduated into HDMI distribution. Wherever you need an HDMI signal, that's where Vanco comes into play. Whether you need to extend it, switch it, split it, matrix unit, HDMI over IP, distribute it over network, that's us. And about 6 years ago, we also decided to add on a couple of audio lines, which we're going to cover today in Pulse Audio and Beale Street Audio. So, under one roof with Vanco, we have everything in terms of AV. Whether you need an HDMI cable, whether you need an audio cable, whether you need an amplifier, a pair of speakers, an HDMI extender, we certainly have it all. And obviously, we'll talk about where you can purchase that from, which is obviously Dave Wilson through Dizzyfish, the distribution. We'll have a slide on that at the end. And again, we are headquartered and we ship out of Batavia, Illinois here, at least in the States. And obviously, Dizzyfish is going to help us out there in the UK. Extensive product range, as I spoke about in the previous slides. So we have all sorts of products, right? HDMI, component, VGA products, architectural speakers, amplifiers, all sorts of audio converters, which we'll cover today. All sorts of audio and video cables. Again, HDMI, optical, VGA, you name it, we have it. I mean, we even sell a lightning cable for Apple iPhones. We also carry all sorts of networking accessories, home theater, and bulk cable wall plates, like the wall plate that you see in the lower left-hand corner. I can talk to you guys all day and bore you guys to death on wall plates. We certainly have a good selection of wall plates for any type of solution. Last but not least, IR distribution, which people tell us is dying. But it's honestly, it's still selling. It's still alive. It's still out there. We have some very unique IR distribution products, including that one zone 6-source IR box right next to that wall plate there. That's one of our best-selling units. So point being, again, with Vanco, we have all sorts of solutions related to audio, video, and even networking. So I'll hand it over to Randy, who is our audio director. He's going to talk about the technology itself, the speakers themselves, Beale Street Audio itself, and then he'll hand it back over to me for a product overview. So Randy, all yours.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Frank. Hopefully Frank didn't bore you guys too much, but now we're going to go and talk about something near and dear to my heart. That's Beale Street and Sonic Vortex. Frank, do I got control? Looks like I do. There we go. All right. So, big question, right? Does the world really need another loudspeaker? Not really. You know, in the US alone, there are something in the order of 800 brands of loudspeakers, a stupid number. And the problem is that most of those speakers, when we talk architectural speakers, are all the same. Well, the world needs another loudspeaker when you've got something different, when you've developed a technology that is different than every other infinite baffle speaker you gentlemen and ladies have ever sold. And that's what we've done. We've taken a design, we patented it called Sonic Vortex. Now, Sonic Vortex isn't a new design. It's actually been around since the 30s. Many great speaker companies use our design, which is a transmission line design. Again, came out in the 30s. You know, CAF, B&W, both great British brands that use transmission line designs. Just no one's ever thought to put it in the ceiling. And what a transmission line does for a tower loudspeaker, it does for an in-ceiling speaker, which is to give you great, deep, detailed, articulate bass. An infinite baffle design can't do that. We're going to talk about why in a second here. So let's look at, you guys have seen these, right? The typical in-ceiling speaker, in-wall speaker, they all look the same. They don't have a back box. They have no type of enclosure. When you put one in the ceiling, it's going to sound different in every single ceiling, every single wall, because the airspace behind the speaker, the cabinet behind the speaker, affects the performance of the speaker. Now we know, again, the sound wave comes off the front, but guess what? Woofers are dipolar. The sound comes off the back too. That sound and what happens to it is going to affect the way the speaker performs on the front. I absolutely love that picture. Little stuffed animal with the Dizzyfish shirt on. I love it. Sorry, I have ADD, guys, so I will wander all over the place today. So let's have fun. Anyway, so this is what happens, guys. It happens every single sound. Every single time that sound comes off the back of the woofer, it can resonate into adjacent spaces. If it's a tight space, it's going to inhibit the amount of bass coming off the front of the woofer. If it's a large space, it can over-exaggerate it. But at no time is it ever predictable. You just don't know what's going to happen. So, you know, here's kind of an example of what happens with an infinite baffle speaker in a ceiling. So on the left, we've got a big space. Well, that big space is going to affect the amount of bass coming off of that speaker. On the right side, we have a smaller space behind the speaker. That's actually going to reduce the dispersion of the speaker, is going to reduce the amount of bass off that speaker. Exact same speaker playing into the same room, two different sounds. Worse than that, the sound coming off the back of the woofer, it's coupling to the joints, it's coupling to the floor up above, it's coupling to the drywall. the gypsum board in the walls, and it's vibrating through those, and you're having those sounds come into any adjacent spaces. You know, longer you're in the business, eventually you're going to have a customer complain to you about the fact that the speakers you put in on the first floor, I can hear on the second floor because I'm rocking and rolling, I'm playing it loud, I'm watching a movie with some nice bass, I hear it in the other spaces. That's no good. But forever, we said in an architectural speaker, well, you just have to live with it. Or you put a can on the back of the speaker. You can do that, absolutely. But what happens if I put a can on the back of the speaker? I can absolutely restrict the resonances off the back of the woofer. But you know what I'm doing? I'm going to crush the sound coming off the front. If my woofer doesn't have air to move in, I'm going to restrict the amount of low bass going into the room. So it's always been the case. We just said, let's live with it. So let's talk about bass. How do we generate bass? We got to move air. That's it. It's a really, really simple formula. Subwoofers, big subwoofers, long throw woofers. We got to just move air. But moving air isn't enough. So we use ports. Almost everybody uses some type of port or some type of passive radiator in their woofer design, their subwoofer design. Another challenge is when I develop a ported speaker like this, which is again a transmission line. If I don't develop that port properly, if I just put a tube in like you look here, you know what you're going to get? A lot of turbulence, a lot of port noise. You guys may have heard this sometime if you're playing particularly an inexpensive woofer, and you hear that howling noise. That's turbulence. That sucks. That is not good. So even just having the proper size port isn't enough. Well, guess what? You know you can't put those in a ceiling, right? So I could do this. I could put this in the ceiling, and you could have a, you know, let's say a meter and a half port hanging out of your customer's ceiling. Good luck with that. You know, this will generate bass. This design will move air and will generate bass and will piss off every customer. That's why no one ever does this. So what do? We know that's the way to do it. So what do? We're going to break this down. So again, our patent is called Sonic Vortex. What we do is we take that back wave off of the woofer that has been giving you problems, that has been affecting the performance of your speakers, and we fire it down to the back of our enclosure. I'm going to break the enclosure down on the next slide. Then we spiral it actually back out the front, and we fire it out 6 tuned ports on the front of the loudspeaker. Because it's a transmission line, we're actually also compressing these ports, these tubes that come up the side, and we're increasing the air's velocity. By doing that, we're actually, instead of losing bass like you do in an infinite baffle, we're increasing the bass response. We're enhancing the bass response. Another side benefit, very, very wide dispersion. So you can use less of our speakers to cover a large area, or more importantly for your customer, you don't get hot and cold spots. You don't have the issue of under the speaker, it sounds really loud. A foot away, it sounds terrible. This side of the room, I only hear the left speaker. That side of the room, I only hear the right speaker. With our speakers, because of our very wide dispersion, you get great sound throughout the room, whether it's, you know, the home, whether it's a commercial application, pub, restaurant, whatever. We give you very, very consistent sound. And I'm going to keep talking about consistency. I'm going to keep talking about accuracy, because that's what we do. So let's look inside this very complex design. And when you look at it, then you're really going to start to get an appreciation for what Dave told you earlier. which is the value of these. How even though they're elaborate, they're different, they are not outrageously more expensive than a traditional infinite baffle loudspeaker. And I apologize, my phone is going off like the 4th of July. So this is our speaker. This is what you buy. For those who haven't actually bought one from Dave yet, this is what you buy. So I'm going to break it down real quick. This is our enclosure. At the end, I mentioned our waveguide. So the sound travels back to the enclosure, strikes this plate, and then it comes up these tubes out the outside of the speaker, and then ultimately fires out 6 ports on the front. And when you look at our ports, remember I showed you that picture earlier with the tube and it's just kind of cut off? If you look at our ports, they're fluted. The reason we flute our ports like that, the reason we have a little curve in them, is to limit the amount of turbulence. So we give you not, prodigious, ridiculous amount of bass, but we give you deep bass, good bass, and predictable bass, consistent sound. Whatever your customer's application, whatever their materials are that their house is built out of, we don't care. Because we bring the enclosure with us, because we use our enclosure to amplify the performance, I don't care where you install our speakers, they're always going to sound the same. So, what are the quick takeaways with Sonic Vortex? Small footprint with a really, really big sound. We sound the same because I said it over and over. I don't care what's behind the speaker. I don't care where you're installing it because I'm bringing that enclosure with me. And we don't allow resonances to go into adjacent spaces. All of the sound that your customer is paying for is coming into the room you're installing the speaker. Your customer could say, well, what does that speaker sound like? If you're using an infinite baffle design, you really don't know. You can't answer that question because it's going to sound different every single time. With ours, you could take our speaker, go into your customer's home with an amplifier, hopefully one of ours, and play the speaker just sitting on a table. And that's what they're going to hear in the ceiling. You can't do that with an infinite baffle design. Again, I don't mean to pick on those guys, but this is just the right way to design an in-ceiling loudspeaker. If it sounds like I'm really proud of what we do, I'm really proud of what we do. So I'm going to turn it back over to Frank, and he's going to walk you through some of the products, and we'll trade off a little bit here. Hopefully we're keeping everybody awake. Frank, why don't you talk some products for a bit?
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, Randy. Appreciate it. Again, if you guys have any questions, please certainly utilize that chat function, and Randy will be looking out for those questions. So let's get down to product. And obviously, Randy covered all the benefits, the features of why Sonic Vortex is so different. Listen, guys, we can talk about it all day. We can tell you, hey, these speakers are badass. They sound great. But obviously, you guys need to hear it for yourselves, okay? So the gentleman at Highland Smart Homes, obviously, he's got a pair sitting right there. Fire those up. Let us know what you think. He's even got the LCRs, which are my personal favorite. So, again, you got to hear them, okay? So with our speakers, we have 3 different series. We didn't come up with this. It's a bit corny. We admit that. But 3 different series is a good, better, and best, but we call it better for B, more better for MB, and better than their best BB. So 3 different series, and all it is, guys, is obviously the materials, right? That's going to be the difference, right? So with the better speakers, or B speakers, smooth sound, great value. Now in terms of the materials, you get a polywoofer, silk dome tweeter, and this series is available in our in-ceiling 6.5 and 8-inch, straight and angled. Obviously, the angles are great for any home theater type applications where you have ceiling speakers for your effect speakers. And then last but not least, a dual voice coil, which Randy will cover later. The MBs, broader sound, deeper bass, better materials here. So your woofer is made out of fluted injected poly. Your tweeter is made out of aluminum. And this is also available in our in-ceiling 4-inch, 6.5, and 8-inch. So we add a 4-inch with the MBs. And then in addition to that, we also have in-wall applications. So we have an in-wall 4-inch, an LCR, and a Pancake speaker. And again, available in both straight and angled. The best speakers that we have are the better than their best, more detail and power handling, even better materials here. So the woofer is now carbon fiber, the tweeter is titanium, and again, available in in-ceiling 4-inch, 6.5, 8-inch, Pancake LCR, and straight and angled. Okay, so those are in-ceiling speakers. Again, the differences between each and every series, if you will. Now the Pancake speakers, this is a great speaker for any in-wall applications where you have less than 3 inches of depth. Okay, I personally use these in my home theater application in my basement, 7.2 setup, and obviously my effect speakers in the back. I don't have much room. I can't put your normal in-ceiling speaker right into the wall because of the depth. So this has less than 3 inches of depth. Also includes round and square grills, available in MB and BB. All right, the LCR speakers, my personal favorite. I actually run these in my home theater setup. I also run these, believe it or not, in my kitchen. I have these hidden right above my cabinets. You can't even see them. They're pointed at the ceiling. They deflect down. A bit overkill, I'll admit, but again, my favorite speakers from the line. I actually have the MBs, great home theater application speakers, again, less than 3 inches of depth, available in MB and BB. Again, a great speaker. Now, these are fairly large speakers. Keep that in mind. Now, Randy and I did some research yesterday, and maybe Dave, you can confirm this, but standard stud spacing, 16 on center there in the UK. Is that right? Yeah. Can't hear you. You're muted, but I see the nod, so I'm going to guess that's correct. So if it's 16 on center, that's the same here in the U.S., okay, because we have an LCR speaker that can fit in between the studs, less than 15 inches wide, available in MB and BB. So just different form factor. Again, if you have a retrofit application where you can't obviously adjust the studs, a great application for your center channel. All right, let's talk about dual voice coil. Randy can explain this a lot better than I can. So Randy, if you will.
So, you guys have probably seen this in your life. Dual voice coil speaker, stereo speaker in one enclosure. Well, you know what? That's our version of a dual voice coil speaker. We don't use two tweeters in our dual tweeter speaker. We have one of the few in the world dual voice coil tweeters. So why does everybody use the other style with two tweeters and a woofer? Well, they do it because they can't design a tweeter that can take the power of the left and right channel. We did. Why is this important for you guys? Well, when you install a speaker that has two tweeters side by side, what you've installed is a small line array loudspeaker. The dispersion from a dual tweeter speaker at the high frequencies is actually elliptical. It's not spherical. Now, some manufacturers will try to mitigate this problem by angling the tweeters out a little bit, by bending them out, by letting you bend them a little bit. And that'll work sometimes. That'll work a little bit. But it can also create a null right through the middle of the speaker. At no times is the dispersion pattern off of two tweeters the same as the dispersion pattern off of a single woofer. So because everything we do, we try to do better. It's all we've been talking about here, right? Everything we do better. We've developed a better dual tweeter speaker. Our speaker gives you full frequency range, full frequency response, 180 or 360 degree dispersion, all axes. This is, again, the right way to do a dual tweeter speaker. Just develop a better tweeter. Now, there's a reason why this is a fabric tweeter. Currently, we are in development to do this in a metal dome tweeter. Challenge we're having is that we're burning up metal dome tweeters. They retain too much heat from the small dual voice coil behind there. This guy dissipates that heat. So dual tweeter speaker using a single tweeter. The big thing to know is instead of an elliptical pattern at your high frequencies, you're getting a spherical dispersion pattern at your high frequencies, just like you are at your low frequencies. A better way. Frank, back to you, brother.
Sounds good. Let's talk about subwoofers. So our subwoofers are unique, as you may or may not know. Our subwoofers are in-ceiling subwoofers. 2 different sizes here, 6.5 and an 8-inch. However, the key here is that, hey, listen, if you don't want an in-room subwoofer or on-the-floor subwoofer, you can certainly hide that subwoofer using ours right into the ceiling. The key here is small footprint, huge bass. We're still using sonic vortex. We're still using that to drive more bass into that room using such a small cabinet. So, you know, technically, our 6.5 really sounds more like an 8, and our 8-inch really sounds more or pushes out more bass like a 10-inch subwoofer. I personally have 2 of these in my basement. I get great bass response just by using 2 of these right in my 7.2 system. Now, keep in mind, this is a passive subwoofer, so you do need something to drive it in terms of an amplifier. We've got 2 different flavors here, a 1 by 120 watt, a 1 by 220 watt on the right-hand side. Obviously, more power on the right-hand side, and I personally use the A220 because, heck, why not, right? Let's drive more power to those subwoofers. So, again, 2 different options there for sub-amps. Now,
Hey, Dave, hang on one thing, Frank. Dave, do you have A100s too? Did you bring any in?
Yeah, we've got the subwoofers and we've got the amps. I think we've got the full range in the store.
All right. So there's another amplifier that we don't have in the U.S. anymore, and it's not on the slides, but Dave has them. It's the A100. It's actually a predecessor to the A120, but based on what I saw for pricing, it's a steal. So Dave does have also the A100, lower cost of the A120, obviously lower cost of the A220, a great match for the 6.5 inch particularly. As integrators, you can put a few extra shekels in your pocket with the A100. So I know Dave's got those. That's what I wanted to make sure of. So, all right, Frank, sorry, back to you.
No problem. So if you're looking for a traditional in-room subwoofer, we certainly have them. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, all this is our in-ceiling subwoofer put right into a cabinet. Now, the cabinet we didn't have to care about at all, right? Because our in-ceiling subwoofer already has a sealed cabinet that's built right in. So this allowed us to use a much smaller cabinet. And again, our 8-inch, it acts more like a 10 without the size, right? Small footprint, like we said before. So two different sizes here, 6.5 and 8-inch with a 220 watt built-in amplifier. Obviously, it's not passive. It is, both of these are powered subwoofers. All right, let's talk about residential amplifiers. Show of hands for guys who do residential audio. All right, so that's most of us in here. So great. So we have 2 channel amplifiers. These are actually brand new. When I say brand new, we've been shipping this for about a couple months here. A 2 by 50 watt, 2 by 100 watt sub out, so it is a 2.1. However, the key feature on both of these amplifiers is the ability to mimic IR from any remote. Okay, so I took about 50 remotes to test this guy out, and I could get it to work with 49. Couldn't get it to work with one. It was some off-brand from Best Buy here in the States that we just could not get it to work. However, I threw TV remotes at it, cable box remotes at it, so it will learn volume up, volume down, mute, source selects. That way you're not having to obviously control our amplifiers with the dinky little remote that it comes with. I'll be honest with you, the remotes are never great, but again, you can learn this amplifier to any IR remote. Great amplifiers to have on any simple 2.1 channel setup in, let's say, a bedroom. We also have multi-channel amplifiers as well. Randy, if you can discuss this.
Absolutely. So this is an amplifier that, again, is currently only available in Europe. We don't have it in the U.S. today. It is, I can't say it either way, it's very cool. There's not a lot this guy can't do. It's 70 volt. Well, for you guys, it's 100 volt. Sorry, we're on a 70. We use 70 volt commercial systems here. but it can be 8 ohm, it can be 100 volt. You can mix and match channels. You can have a unique input for every channel, or you can have a single bus input that'll automatically go out to every channel. It's bridgeable, it's IR controllable, IP controllable, 232 controllable. It's got trigger inputs. It's got signal sensing inputs. It's when you're doing multi-zone, whether resi or commercial, this amp is just a great Swiss Army knife that you can spec into every job. You can put this guy into virtually every installation because there's not a lot it can't do. And when it comes to reliability, it's absolutely bulletproof. This thing can go into a rack and will stay in for years and years and years, which of course is a problem in our industry because if our stuff broke more often, we'd be able to sell our customers new stuff. But this thing is a fabulous, fabulous amplifier. That's it, Frank.
Sounds good. Let's switch gears here. And then, Randy, if you can take a look at that chat log, I think there's a couple questions in there. But let's switch gears here to commercial products. Show of hands for the commercial guys. All right, so we got some residential and commercial guys. Great. All right, so for our commercial speakers, same deal. We have Sonic Vortex technology, and remember, commercials, great speakers. Fluid injected poly again for the woofer, aluminum tweeter. It is switchable from it. My understanding, you guys use 100 volt there, correct? Is that right, Dave? Yes? Perfect. We have a switch to go from 25 to 70 to 100, so we have you covered. Now our 70 volt speakers, I'm sorry, our 100 volt speakers, I should say, are available in 4-inch, 6.5 inch, and 8-inch. Has the Pancake 4-inch as well for those in-wall applications. Okay, basically, these are the same materials as our MB speakers in our residential line. Randy, if you want to explain the ease data really quick.
So what you're seeing on the bottom of the screen, no, I'm not muted. I thought I was muted. Hey, all right. So what you see on the bottom of the screen there are two of the many graphs that we offer. The first one is our polar dispersion pattern. The second one is a frequency response pattern. So I don't know if any of you guys use it, but worldwide, the most popular software to do room modeling in commercial applications is called Ease. Commercial consultants use it. A lot of commercial, the real pure commercial integrators use it. And what Ease does, it lets you drop your client's room in, pick your speakers, and it will model that room. It will tell you the coverage. It will tell you everything you want to know about the room, where standing waves are, on and on and on. For us to compete with the JBLs and the Bosches and the Boses of the world, Lecture Voice, all the big players, we had to make sure that our software was available on Ease. So if you guys are out doing a commercial job and a consultant's on the site says, yeah, is that product in Ease? Absolutely it is. If he just asks you for the polar dispersion pattern or frequency response graphs, those are available through our website. You can download them, put them in a proposal, show them to anybody who needs to see them.
Thank you, Randy. Appreciate it. Now let's talk about multi-channel amplifiers. Just like our residential line, we certainly have one within our commercial line. Two different flavors here, a 4x250 watt or a 2x500 watt. Obviously, these are audio matrix units, okay? So we can send any audio source to any zone. For control, we certainly have drivers for it. We also have IP control as well. We'll show you guys more screenshots in the next slide, but obviously hook this up to your network, give it an IP address. You can access this via any connected computer or even a tablet, and we can fully control this. Again, any input to any output. The other beauty about this is we can run 100 volt and 8 ohm simultaneously. So let's say on our 4-channel, you can have zones 1 through 3 set at 8 ohm for residential application, and then outdoor for their outdoor patio for their speakers, we can set it to 100 volt. So very cool what you can do there. On the flip side of that, commercial application, let's say a bar, they want one of our in-ceiling subwoofers, not a problem. We can run 100 volt indoors, and we can add on the 4th channel 8 ohm for that subwoofer.
Control 4 drivers do exist for you guys who are asking.
There you go.
For this product.
So 2 different part numbers here. Again, the 250 watt version is the BAV 2500, and obviously we have the other part number BAV 4250. So some more screenshots of the actual user interface. Like I mentioned, IP controllable. Punch this into your network. You have this user interface. Left-hand side, obviously, you have the matrix unit, again, where we can send any audio source to any zone. Full mixer built in, obviously, we can adjust different volume levels, treble, bass, so on and so forth. And then you've got some of the smaller screenshots on the right-hand side. Might be hard to see, but there's certainly a high-pass filter, parametric equalizer where we can tailor this amplifier to any application. So I'll give you guys an example. Install this into a bar type application. All of a sudden the bartender is hearing some noise within the glasses because they're vibrating. Well, we can work around that. We can tailor it to, again, any application to avoid any vibrations. Last but not least, we can save the configuration of any of these amps. That way, if you're doing a chain of restaurants or bars, we can certainly save that configuration and upload it into additional amplifiers. Let's talk about accessories really quick. I'm going to breeze through this. This is actually a pretty cool accessory for our Sonic Vortex speakers. This is for our 6.5 and 8-inch models, available in black and white. If you get the black one, you do have the black speaker included. Obviously, the white one doesn't, because if you're getting the Sonic Vortex speaker, it comes with the grill within the speaker itself. Obviously, this is a great application to hang this from the ceiling. There's an optional wall mount bracket. This is great for indoor, outdoor use. And the beauty about this product is that you can use any Sonic Vortex speaker within them, all 6.5, all 8-inch, and some of the 4-inches as well. So you can use a B if you wanted to, or an NB, or a BB, or you can use a 100-volt speaker, or heck, you can even do a subwoofer hanging from the ceiling if you wanted to, using our in-ceiling subwoofer. So pretty cool accessories that we have for our Sonic Vortex speakers. Yes, we do have pre-construction speaker brackets. Yes, we do have tile bridges for commercial applications. And then Beale Basics is a line without Sonic Vortex. Randy, want to explain why we brought on Beale Basics and what Beale Basics is all about?
Yep. So I told you everything wrong with infinite baffle designs, and guess what? We still have an infinite baffle design. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. This is strictly a market share play for us, right? Sometimes Sonic Vortex isn't gonna work because of a price point, because of whatever. I just need a lower cost product. So there are plenty of people in the world who make an infinite baffle design, and they're all the bad design, and yes, I'm just as guilty. But remember what I kept telling you, right? I've said it over and over and over. Everything we do better. Our entry-level speaker, our entry-level infinite baffle design speaker is using Kevlar and titanium. Now, you guys have some great brands over there. We have some great brands here. In almost all of them, Kevlar and titanium is at the top of the line. It's the top of their food chain. I use it at my entry level. So tremendous value if you're using an infinite baffle design, if you just gotta hit that price point. So whether commercial or residential, I even use a dual tweeter speaker with 2 tweeters. Everything I told you that was wrong. Again, strictly a price point play. I don't want you guys always should be installing Sonic Vortex. I mean, let's get that out there. Always install Sonic Vortex. But if you have, the garage, the wood shop, whatever, the room where the guy says, look, just give me something cheaper. I don't want you using my competitors. There's no reason to use my competitors. Use a Beale Street product and still give them the best infinite baffle design out there. Also, we have a pendant speaker in this line. The nice thing about this guy, 6-inch and coming soon in a 4-inch. We'll get it over there. It's a pendant speaker. It's a landscape speaker. It's a wall mount speaker. It's great for all applications. It's IP65 rated. Can withstand any weather conditions. even those cold, rainy summers up there. So we do have those available in our Beale Basics line. Even though they're a pendant, they do not have sonic vortex, but hit a great price point. That's it, Frank.
Gruber, I love that. I love that reference. Anyway, looks like we've got some questions, obviously, on the pendants. Really quick, one thing I missed on those sonic vortex pendants, white one, totally paintable as well. Okay, so keep that in mind. For the Beale Basics line, obviously the speakers, 8-ohm insulating speakers, Kevlar woofer, titanium tweeter, available in a 6.5, 8-inch, and then our 6.5 dual tweeter. As you can see, this is much different than the sonic vortex dual tweeter. Obviously, as Randy said, sonic vortex is the way to go. And then we've also got the indoor-outdoor 70-volt pendant speakers. I will have to check on this, Randy. Do you know if this does 100 volt? I don't know offhand.
It does.
It does. Perfect. Okay, great. I actually have 2 of these on my patio. Okay, I actually have 2 of them. They survived the winter. I didn't believe they would. I thought I would have to disconnect them, put them in, and we got quite a good bit of snow this winter. In fact, they were buried in snow. Scooped up all the snow out of the way, fired them up, and guess what? They still work, and they still work to this day. So great pendant speakers. Again, you can hang them from the ceiling. You can wall mount them. We do have an accessory kit on this next slide here that has a stake and a disc to it. So that way, again, you can use this as obviously a patio type, landscape type speaker. This is just an accessory to add on. All right, let's switch gears here to Pulse Audio. Again, if you guys have any questions, please utilize the chat function. I see some questions filtering through. We're almost at the tail end of it, guys. Almost getting there, so hopefully we're not boring you too much. But Pulse Audio is our line of audio solutions. Now, Beale Street Audio came after that. Now, Pulse Audio was supposed to be our audio line of all sorts of audio solutions and speakers. And obviously, with Beale Street Audio coming along, it had a very different type of speaker that we couldn't produce with Pulse Audio. So Pulse Audio is our line of just simple audio solutions, Bluetooth accessories, simple amplifiers, so on and so forth. So let's get through it. Our 2-channel amplifiers, bridgeable, signal sensing on and off, 4 different flavors here, 2x25, 2x60, 2x125, 2x150. These are your very simple 2-channel amplifiers. Not much more to say about that unless you've got anything else, Randy, on these.
They're half rack width, so you can put them side by side in the middle Atlantic rack or whatever rack of choice. They do come with wall mount brackets too, but the big thing of these is that they're, like I said before about other products, they're bulletproof. We beat these things to death before we brought them in to make sure that they're going to stay in your customer's system and not be a service call. So that's the big thing.
Sounds good. Next amplifier is our 100 volt single channel amplifier. 2 different flavors here, again, 40 watt and 100 watt. We like to call these our Swiss Army knives because of what they can handle. You have 2 analog inputs in the form of 3.5 millimeter RCA, and then 1 digital input in the form of optical format. And then you also have a mic input as well with mic ducking. So you can use this in any PA type application. And again, it'll mic duck for you, okay? In terms of control, we have IR and RS-232 as well.
And the PAV 1100 has not shipped yet. Dave, you got PAV 140s, right? He does. So, but 1100 will be out in the next 30 to 60 days.
Sounds good. Speaking of mic input, we are coming out also with a mic preamp. Pretty simple. Obviously, add to any amp, obviously, for any microphone applications. XLR and 1/4 inch inputs and outputs. You do have a 1/4 inch output for mono or stereo applications, so you can switch between the two. And then add on to this, Randy.
This we're developing because our big Beale amplifiers don't have micro inputs. You know, they're all line level, balanced, unbalanced. So this will allow you to add microphone input to the multi-channel commercial amplifiers. Pretty straightforward, you know. good, very, very low noise, by the way. That was the one thing we tested, was very, very low noise floor.
Sounds good. And then another unique product which we have is a 60-watt 2-channel wall plate amplifier. I believe Dave mentioned he's actually working on a wall plate for this. That's a bit bigger. Obviously, we use a single gang here for the States, but you guys use a different format. So again, Dave's working on that. Pretty cool little amplifier. Obviously, you've got 30 watts per channel in a wall plate application where the amplifier is built right in. Now, in terms of the inputs, your primary is going to be Bluetooth streaming. So there's a Bluetooth module built right in. And then you have a line in right on the front of the wall plate there. So compact design, auto switches between the auxiliary in and the Bluetooth. The Bluetooth is always going to take the first priority. So pretty cool. We are working on an additional version of this where you can actually assign the Bluetooth names. That way you can send your source to multiple wall plates if you'd like. So think of office buildings for this. You know, you have an office where you have a wall plate in each and every office. All right, next up, streaming receiver, partner PA Stream. Think of this, gentlemen, as a Sonos system without the price, without the amplifier, without the speakers. Okay, pretty cool device that you can run multiple units within one single application. I actually personally use 2 of these, one for my patio and one for my garage. You can join them. You can hit a party mode if you want to. You can send a different source to any zone that you want to. So pretty cool little streaming receiver. In terms of what you can send to it, in terms of applications, I personally use Spotify. You can use Spotify, TuneIn, QPlay, Tidal, and many others. For the others that are not, there you go, Randy's holding it up there. But for those services that are not listed, there's a workaround, and you can use AirPlay. So for you iOS users, you can AirPlay to this using any audio source. Very cool little product. We also have Bluetooth transmitters and receivers. This is our PABT100. This is actually a single unit showing you front and back. Basically, this can be used either as a receive or as a transmit. So, you know, if you've got an old iPod which you need to send audio to, let's say, an updated amplifier, use it as a transmit. You know, reverse way around, if you've got an old amplifier that does not have Bluetooth, you can set this to receive. So pretty cool little Bluetooth transmitter receiver. Now this is an older style Bluetooth. We do have an updated unit, which is the PABT410, which is Bluetooth 4.1. Same deal. You can use that as a transmitter or receiver. This one obviously features Bluetooth 4.1 and additional inputs and outputs in terms of the digital and analog inputs and outputs.
Hey, Frank, hang on 1 second before you talk about this guy.
Yeah. I
want to tease you guys because we teased you already with a couple of things. You saw the streamer. The streamer is very, very popular. By the fall of this year, we're going to have a in-wall version of it. So we're going to take our Bluetooth in-wall amplifier, and we're going to have a streaming product like that too. So you'll be able to do a streaming system completely in-wall for the customer. No boxes laying around, which guess what? That means you get to charge more labor for the installation. So we're still going to have to work on the wall plates, and we're working with Dave on getting these products configurable for European wall plates. But just want to tease you on that too. That we're really excited about.
Actually, question on that, Randy. Andrew Meekin asked for the streaming player, the PA Stream, does it support high-res audio?
It does. It supports Tidal, Deezer, Spotify. The new version will be AirPlay 2. So does that answer your question? They do not do Pandora. I will tell you right now, the reason that you can do that with the newer version of that in the in-wall, you'll be able to do that through AirPlay 2. But honestly, the reason we don't support Pandora in our products is because the licensing fee for Pandora is criminal. They charge more than Spotify, Tidal, or Deezer, which are all better products. Because of that, we have chosen to leave Pandora off the product and just do it through AirPlay 2.
Got it. And actually, Randy, if you can take us home for the rest of the slides really quick. Chris Work has a question on the slide that we're taking a look at right now, the PA-EXTDA. Does it have a DAC built into the receiver unit? It does not. We do have a separate DAC, just a little black box digital to analog audio converter. We actually have a couple of them, but this one does not. So Randy, if you can take us home with the rest of the products, please.
So, well, you covered this one, right? This is a long-range extender. So, you know, I always like to talk applications, which I've been talking. You know, think of a large factory, right? They want to get the audio from one office down to another. Think of the church, right? The church has got they got the audio in the sanctuary, but now they want to get the audio to the common rooms, to the overflow rooms for that, you know, very packed Easter or Christmas service. This is a great way to get whether analog or digital audio a long, long way, and we're just doing it on cat cable. So this is a great product, very, very popular. Frank must have run out of gas. Why he wants me to keep talking. All right, so Dolby down mixing. Actually, I'll tell you what. I'm pretty sure this is a UK made product for us. This comes out of our UK partner factory. You guys you're putting in the home theater system. Now the guy wants to get the audio out of the home theater, and he wants to get it into his distributed music system. And we're just working analog there, right? Well, if you just take the left and right out, if you're doing multi-channel audio, which is spectacular, if you don't down mix that, you're going to give up the center channel. You're going to give up everything but the left and the right. So what this guy does is lets you take the digital audio out, and it will take the 5.1 channel music, and it will mix it down to 2-channel audio, so you can distribute it through the entire audio system without loss of fidelity. This is just the best way to pull multi-channel music and put it into a 2-channel system. So you guys use Apple TVs, variety of products out there, cable boxes these days. They used to give you a digital audio output in addition to the HDMI output. Then for whatever reason, people decided to stop putting the digital audio outputs on their source devices. So what we've done is we've developed a product that will pass the HDMI through and extract the digital audio, so you can run that into your audio system, second system, wherever you want to run it. And what's really important is the resolution that we pass. So there's a lot of guys who make this. This is not new, but most of them are still messing around with 1080p. They're not passing HDR. We're passing 4K 60, we're passing HDR. So if you're doing high-res video and high-res audio, you can pull the high-res audio off with this guy. Again, great product because we are up in the 4K range where other people still aren't. Audio delay device. If you guys are running into lip sync issues, what this allows you to do is to delay the audio up to 340 milliseconds. Again, it's a solution piece. If you don't need it, don't use it. But if you are running into that issue where you're running into delays because you've extracted the audio off of a system, know that Dave has got a product that will help you fix that problem. Another, just a cool little solution product. So what this does is lets us take analog audio, it only does analog, and put it into a computer. We even provide the software that you need to use Audacity. To do it, we provide the Audacity. You can download it from our website. We actually include a disc, believe it or not. So you got legacy cassette decks, you got legacy turntables, Make sure it's a turntable with a phono preamp, please. Reel-to-reels, anything. And we want to get that information into a digital format. This little solution will do that for you. Speaker bracket. Now this bracket was originally intended just for the Beale Street Pendant, but it's an amazing bracket. It's a bracket, what can I tell you? But holds a lot of weight. It's got great mobility, great pivotability. Again, originally intended to take the PESV pendant, the Beale pendant, and make it wall mountable. So we have that for that, and you can use it for any speaker you want. It even comes with a safety cable. So we're getting to the end here. Where do you buy all this stuff? Now, let me tell you guys, I'm going to throw in a little commercial for Dave, which he's been very quiet, which I appreciate, Dave. I like you. We know, you guys know, there's a lot of options out there for you to source product, not just our product. You know, I've been in this business a long time as an integrator, as a distributor, as a manufacturer. And I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of places you guys can source product. We know that. When you're choosing who you're going to shop with, think of the guy, the company that's supporting your business. There's a lot of guys who are happy to take your money and sell you product. But are they in it with you as a partner? Now, I've only known Dave for a couple months now, but his commitment to you gentlemen as integrators is blowing me away. Now, it's probably because he is an integrator, was an integrator, and he knows what it takes. So you got a lot of options. I'm not going to tell you should spend all your money with Dizzyfish, but think of that guy that's committed to making you successful every single day when you spend your money. With that, I'm not going to say another word. Shop at Dizzyfish. What the hell? Frank, you want to talk to this, or you want out?
Absolutely. Let me talk about this. So this is my specialty. Obviously, this is the Vanco Online Training Center. If you guys want to know more about Beale Street Audio, great. We've got a module on this LMS site, vanco.talentlms.com. You can scan it. There's a QR code there with your tablet, your iPhone if you want to. Furthermore, Dave, what I'll do is I'll send well, you've already got a copy of this presentation, so feel free to send this out. But again, it's a great LMS system. The module itself will take you no more than 20-25 minutes. A lot of the stuff that we talked about, but also some helpful stuff as well. Very informative, very interactive. Once you complete the module, it actually opens it up to even more additional resources, such as case studies, short product videos, a tool to help you walk the job, find out what speakers, what amplifiers work best, recorded webinars like we're doing right now. So a lot of additional resources. On top of that, we didn't talk about our video side of things, but there's also a module on HDMI over IP. If you guys are interested in HDMI over IP, we've got a module for that. Our HDMI over IP solution, same deal there. So that's my story. That pretty much wraps it up. Here's our contact info. I'm on the right-hand side. Randy's on the left-hand side. Feel free to scan our QR codes. If you guys have any questions after the fact, please let us know. More than happy to help you out. But at this time, let's open it up for some Q&A. Guys, any questions out there?
Hey, Andrew, you go shop somewhere else. The rest of you guys, you shop at Dizzyfish. Andrew, you go somewhere else. I just read his comment about what if he ain't got no money.
Can I just say that we're carrying most of the stock that we're showing here, and if we don't have anything, we can get from Holland really, really quickly, but we're trying to build up so we have absolutely everything, so it's there for next day delivery, basically. Also, all the links that they sent for the Academy, for the images, for anything like that, I'll send them across in an email after this, so you've got everything that you possibly need.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Dave.
Question there from Chris Work. Any Dante products in the pipeline, Randy?
Oh, great question, Chris. Absolutely. Won't be this year. We are in preliminary designs you know, again, just doing Dante is not good enough for us. So look for early 2022 for some very cool Dante solutions coming. That's a great question. Who else?
Just some feedback from Kev John. I'm going to need some of those streamers. I want to start pushing multi-room audio. Great. Yeah. Again, I use it for 2 of my zones. It works out great. We've had a lot of people using that PA stream here in the States, and it's worked out well. And very interested in the outdoor stuff. Summer's almost here. We take advantage of it. Absolutely. The pendants, again, you know, great product to use outdoors. Let's see here. Andrew Meekin question, what bit rate do the streamers support? Great question. Do you know the answer to that, Randy?
No. Well, you know what? I got one right here.
There you go. While he's looking it up, question for you, Dave. Do you have demo facilities? From Bobby Logan.
So he says in Inverness.
Yeah, we've got some of the, we're slowly getting into more places. We're also installing them in places that we're doing. So there's going to be 2 hotels in Glasgow that'll have it, and 3 restaurants that people will be able to go and check it out. But we're slowly building up the amount of people that are putting it into their demo rooms.
Perfect. Looks like from some feedback from Callum Wilson. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Sounds good. Any other questions? Feel free to unmute yourselves, by the way. Use the chat log or mute yourself if you have any questions. We'll hang around for a couple minutes or so.
Don't be shy. Come on, man. You got us all the way from across the water. So on the bitrate question, I don't know. We're going to have to find out. It does do MP3, WMA, AAC, AAC+, ALAC, FLAC, APE, WAVE, etc. So it does everything but cook your dinner. But in terms of the bit rates, I don't know. Unless I answered your question. That's for our tech guys. If you want, shoot me that question in an email, and I'll get it answered and get it back to you. You know, save it to you guys.
Sure, thank you.
Sounds good. Any other questions out there?
You guys gonna start selling this stuff if you're not already? Come on, give me some thumbs up. There, 1, 2. All right. Thank you.
Thank you to everyone for coming along then and spending the evening with it. It was great. And at least hope we've shown you some of the products. Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate your time this evening. Obviously, for all of you, it's evening, so we certainly appreciate your time. You know, hopefully this was beneficial. As Dave mentioned, again, if you guys have any questions after the fact, obviously you can go to Dave, you can go to us. Let us know how we can help you guys out. More than happy to do so. But everyone, I'm seeing all the feedback in that chat log. So again, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. You guys.
Hang on for it.
Oh.
So we got more questions. Relax. So Chris, no plans for a rack mount product on the streamers. That streamer is super tiny, super lightweight. Other than the in-wall, we don't have a plan for a rack mount version today. Really, it's going to depend on how the in-wall version takes off. But that's another excellent question. All right. Anybody else? Last call. All right, Frank, I guess you can take us home.
All right, everyone. Again, thank you very much. You guys stay safe out there. Appreciate your time. Have a great rest of the week and weekend. Thank you.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers. Bye-bye.